Hey there, and welcome to the first video in my walkthrough of the Python standard library. There is so much to go through, and I'm telling you, just in looking through things and starting to investigate the standard library for this series, I'm learning a whole bunch, so I'm hoping you will too. We're going to start with strings. We're going to go through string methods. We're going to go through some string operators that we can use. We're going to go through f-strings and other such things. You're going to know so much about strings by the time you're done. You're going to be, well, I don't know, an expert on string theory. Okay, and yes, you should get used to such dumb jokes. I make a lot of them. So let's start off, actually, not with creating strings necessarily, just with some string methods. And we're going to start off with, and I'm going to try to do these in groups so that you'll see the relationships among these different string methods. So let's assume that I have a string, s equals ABCD. All right, well, of course, I've now created a string. That's all nice and good. What sorts of methods can I run on this string? Well, we could find out if I say like a dir on s, and it's going to give me all the attributes. But in this case, it's going to be methods, and we care about them here. And there are a lot of methods. And I'm going to start off with the case-related methods. So what does that mean? If I want to take my string s, and I want to create an uppercase string based on, I can say s.upper. Okay, now, what am I doing here? I'm invoking the upper method on s. Obviously, in order to invoke the method, I have to use parentheses. Is this changing s? Of course it's not, because strings in Python are immutable. I can't change it. So the thing is, when I run a string method, I'm always going to get a new thing back, or maybe get something back. I'm not changing the string at all. So if you have a string and you want to uppercase, you just run s.upper. I'll give you one guess as to how you can take an uppercase string and you make it lowercase. That's right, s.lower. Fantastic. Now, of course, if the string is mixed case, then you're going to get it all upper or all lower. So if I say s equals A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and let's put in some punctuation and numbers for good measure, 1, 2, 3, and then ba, ba, ba. So if I now say s.lower, all the letters are going to be lowercase, and all the things that don't have a lowercase equivalent are just going to stay there, remain the way they were. If I say s.upper, I'm going to get the same thing. Now, when would I use this? Truth be told, I use this in comparisons. For example, let's say I have here s equals, Ruben@learner.co. Here's my email address. And I want to know, email equals input, enter your email address. And if the user enters then, let's say the caps lock is stuck for those computers that still have caps lock nowadays. So if I now compare s equals email, we're going to find out that's false because Python does check strings case sensitively. But if I say s.lower equals email.lower, oh, that's an entire thing entirely. That's a different thing entirely, and now I get back true. This is the right comparison. So whenever you're checking this sort of thing, user inputs especially, users are the worst. I mean, they're kind of necessary, but they're the worst, and they will give you all sorts of weird inputs. You really want to do this sort of thing when you get it from them, especially something like email addresses, but not just. Okay, so that's upper, that's lower. What else do we have? Well, we have this bizarro method called, here, watch this. If I do A, B, C, well, let's just do here, s equals A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. And I have the swap case method. And guess what the swap case method does? Right, as you can see here, it swaps the case. So uppercase becomes lowercase, lowercase becomes uppercase. I must admit, I have no idea why anyone would want this method. If you do, please put it in the comments. I've never found a use for it other than entertainment. And that's if you're very easily entertained, if your threshold is really low. I can think of much better, easier ways to entertain yourself than swapping the case on a string. But hey, who knows? Who knows? If that floats your boat, enjoy. So we've got upper, lower, we've got swap case. What else do we have? Let's say I have here s equals, this is a bunch of words. And I say s.capitalize. Capitalize is nice in that it lowercases everything except the first character, which is uppercase. So if I were to say here s equals, this is a bunch of words, and I say s.capitalize, once again, the first letter will be capitalized and all the rest will be lowercase. But what if I want to capitalize each and every word in the string? Then I can say s.title, and s.title lowercases everything and then capitalizes the first word in each of these. All right, and so title is great if you want to, say, for example, use the title of the book. So we've got upper, lower, swap case, capitalize, and title. All these are, well, except for maybe swap case, which I'm going to continue to use my punching bag. All these are pretty useful. But there's another one that, truth be told, I've never quite understood until doing some research for this video, and that's called casefold. So if you say here, like, s equals ABCD, and let's say S1 equals ABCD, S2 equals EFG. Well, let's make it the same string, right? ABCD. So if I want to compare them, as I did before with the email, I can say S1 lower equals S2 lower, and that's a great way to compare them. Fantastic. But if I look at the help on str.casefold, it says returns a version of the string suitable for caseless comparisons. To which I say, huh? I've already got that. Lower does that great. Or if I'm really in sort of a shouty mood, upper does that great. What's wrong with using upper and lower? And so it took me a while to sort of find out what the problem was. The problem is not for people using simple, I would say, ASCII characters. The problem is more for, let's see if I can get an example of this from somewhere. Let's see. I'm just going to grab this from somewhere on the web. So let's say I have S1 equals ABCSS, DEF. And then I say S2 equals also ABCSSDF, except this middle SS here is not going to be written as SS. Rather, it's going to be written use the German character, which I always think of as a beta. But this is just an alternative way of writing SS. So you'll see if you ever go to Germany, Berlin's an amazing city. If you ever go to Germany, you'll see sometimes it's written on street signs with this character, this beta-looking character, but it's pronounced as an SS. So if I have S1 and S2 written this way, are S1 and S2 the same? No, they are not. Is S1.lower equals to S2.lower? No, they are not. But anyone who knows German, and I don't know German, I just know this little thing about it. I don't even know what that thing is called. Anyone who knows German knows that actually these are equivalent. So how can you check if they're equivalent? Say S1.casefold equals S2.casefold. And voila, as they say in Germany. I know they don't. Basically, we can see that these are indeed the same. So if you really want to put on turn the screws as hard as possible to make sure that you're comparing things equally, then you should use casefold, not lower. Truth be told, I'll probably still continue to use lower, although maybe my little investigation here has convinced me that casefold would be a better way to go. So casefold is not going to be useful for most standard English letters, but there are other places where it will be useful, and this is a good example of that. All right, I hope that this was useful and helpful, and in the next video we will go on to more of the standard library.